Friends, we can all see that many white bloggers have millions of followers. Please support me too, because my followers are still few. Black bloggers also deserve to be famous. My friends, let's unite and lift each other up. Please press subscribe button and like. Marcus Ellison had just left the hospital after his mother's heart surgery, feeling a mix of exhaustion and relief. It was a late Tuesday night, and he pulled his sleek black BMW into the gas station on the outskirts of Riverton. The neon lights flickered above him, casting an eerie glow on the empty lot. He wore dark jeans and a gray hoodie, his appearance unremarkable, just another man stopping for gas after a long day as he filled his tank. His mind drifted back to the hospital, where he had spent hours waiting for news. He didn't notice a patrol car creeping along the edge of the lot until it was too late. Inside, Sergeant Cole Maddox and Officer Ryan Hale exchanged glances, their eyes narrowing as they spotted Marcus. "Look at him," Maddox muttered, his voice low. "Matches a description from last week's robbery. Black male, hoodie, medium build." Hale leaned forward, excitement flickering in his eyes. "That car doesn't fit this neighborhood. Something's off." Maddox cracked his knuckles, a predatory grin spreading across his face. "Easy money. Let's make our numbers tonight." They swung the cruiser behind Marcus's BMW, boxing him in. Marcus's heart raced as he recognized the familiar pattern. He had read countless reports of innocent people being stopped for no reason. Tonight, he was about to experience it firsthand. Maddox stepped out of the cruiser, his imposing figure radiating authority. "Sir, step away from a vehicle and keep your hands visible," he commanded, his tone dripping with satisfaction. Marcus raised his hand slowly, his pulse quickening. "Officers, I think there's been a mistake." "No mistake," Hale interrupted, his eagerness palpable. "We've been watching you. Your behavior matches someone we're looking for. What exactly am I suspected of?" Marcus asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Maddox stepped closer, his eyes scanning Marcus with a predatory gleam. "Suspicious behavior in a high-crime area. Driving an expensive vehicle. You know the drill." Marcus felt the weight of the situation pressing down on him. "My name is Marcus Ellison. I'm the new chief of police." Laughter erupted from both officers, their mockery echoing in the still night air. "Oh, this is rich," Maddox said, turning to Hale. "What's next? You going to tell us you're the president?" Hale joined in, his laughter cruel and mocking. "That's creative. Usually we get I'm a lawyer or my dad's a cop, but chief of police? That's a new one." Marcus's heart sank as he realized the gravity of the situation. He was no longer a respected officer. He was just another statistic, a target for their amusement. "I'm serious," he insisted, drawing on the authority he had earned over 25 years. "I need you to understand." Maddox cut him off, his expression shifting from amusement to something darker. "Turn around and put your hands on the hood." With a heavy heart, Marcus complied, feeling the cold steel of the handcuffs tighten around his wrists. Maddox's laughter echoed his ears as he processed the humiliation. "Chief of police," he repeated mockingly. "That's going to be a good one to tell the guys back at the station." Unbeknownst to them, Walter Briggs, the night manager of the gas station, was watching the entire scene unfold on his security monitors. He recognized Marcus from community meetings and knew he had to act. As the patrol cars drove away, Walter copied the footage onto a flash drive and locked in his office safe, unsure what to do next. The Riverton Police Department building loomed ahead like a fortress as Marcus was led inside through the rear entrance. The booking area was a stark contrast to the pride he had felt walking through those doors as an officer. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, illuminating the faces of officers who had once respected him. "Empty your pockets," Hale instructed, his voice devoid of empathy. Marcus complied, placing his wallet, keys, and a silver cross belonging to his mother on the table. Each item felt like a piece of his identity being stripped away. "What we got?" the night sergeant, a weary man named Rodriguez, asked. "Suspicious behavior at the gas station," Maddox replied, satisfaction lacing his words. "Subject claims to be the chief of police." Laughter erupted in the booking area, a cruel reminder of the power dynamics at play. Marcus stood silently, fists clenched, as he felt the weight of their mockery. He had spent years advocating for community policing and reform, only to find himself on the receiving end of the very system he had tried to change. In the corner, Officer Elena Rodriguez watched in horror. She had admired Marcus during her training, inspired by his commitment to justice. But now, she felt paralyzed, torn between her loyalty to her colleagues and the truth she knew as the laughter subsided. Maddox leaned closer to Marcus, his voice dripping with condescension. "So, Chief, you want the executive suite tonight. Will general population be suitable for your honor?" The humiliation cut deep, but Marcus remained silent, grappling with the realization that he was powerless in this moment. The cell door slammed shut, echoing like a death knell. The next morning, Marcus walked to the department feeling like a ghost. Whispers followed him, and officers avoided eye contact. In the briefing room, he stood before his colleagues, ready to confront the events of the previous night. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice steady. "I was arrested at the Sioux gas station by Sergeant Maddox and Officer Hale. I was handcuffed, processed, and held for 6 hours. This happened not because I committed any crime, but because 2 officers made assumptions based on my appearance." Gasps filled the room as murmurs rippled through the crowd. "I am ordering a full internal investigation. Sergeant Maddox and Officer Hale are hereby suspended pending the outcome." The tension in the room was palpable. Captain Denton stood, his face pale. "Chief Ellison, don't you think we should wait for the investigation before taking disciplinary action?" "Captain, I'm not suspending them based on allegations. I'm suspending them based on what I personally experienced." As news of suspensions leaked to the media, the narrative quickly shifted. Conservative outlets painted Marcus as an overreaching chief seeking revenge. The police union rallied behind Maddox and Hale, launching a campaign to portray them as victims. Inside the department, Marcus felt increasingly isolated. Officers who had once respected him now viewed him with suspicion. The community meetings he had worked so hard to build were canceled, citing security concerns as the investigation dragged on. The toll on Marcus and his family became evident. Death threats arrived, forcing them to increase security at home. His children faced bullying at school, and the weight of the situation pressed heavily on their family. In the midst of the chaos, Marcus found solace and support his wife, Vanessa. They lay in bed one night, listening to the distant sound of sirens. "I'm scared, Marcus," she admitted. "What if this never ends? What if they destroy your career?" "I don't know what's going to happen," he replied honestly. "But we can't back down now. Too much depends on getting this right." 2 months later, the independent hearing convened in Riverton City Hall. The courtroom was packed, the air thick with tension. Retired Judge Margaret Whitmore presided over proceedings, and the atmosphere crackled with anticipation. As Marcus took the stand, he recounted the events of that fateful night. But when the defense attorney began cross-examination, the atmosphere shifted. The questioning was sharp, designed to undermine his credibility. Just when it seemed the tide was turning against him, Officer Elena Rodriguez stepped forward. "Your Honor, I have testimony that's relevant to this case," she announced, her voice trembling but resolute that Elena's testimony revealed the truth of that night, the laughter of the officers, and the unjust treatment Marcus had endured. The courtroom erupted in murmurs as the reality of the situation began to sink in. But the final blow came when Walter Briggs entered the courtroom, holding a flash drive containing the security footage from the gas station. The images played on the screen, revealing the truth of Marcus's innocence and the cruelty of the officers. As the footage concluded, the courtroom fell silent, the weight of the truth hanging in the air. Judge Whitmore delivered her ruling, finding that Marcus's arrest was conducted without probable cause and accompanied by a systematic attempt to cover up misconduct. Maddox was terminated, and Hale faced suspension and retraining. Elena was commended for her courage, and the Riverton Police Department was ordered to implement immediate reforms. As Marcus stood before the courtroom, he felt a mix of vindication and sadness. The battle was far from over, but the truth had emerged, and change was on the horizon. Months later, as he filled his tank at the Sioux gas station once more, Marcus noticed a young officer helping an elderly woman. It was a small moment, but it represented the possibility of a new beginning, a shift towards service rather than control. The road ahead was long and uncertain, but as Marcus drove home to the streets of Riverton, he allowed himself to believe that change was possible. The fight for accountability would continue, and he was determined to ensure that justice would prevail, not just for himself, but for every citizen in the community he served. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over Riverton, Marcus received a call that would change everything. It was Walter Briggs, the gas station manager. "Marcus, you need to meet me. I have something important to discuss," he said, urgency lacing his voice. Curiosity piqued, Marcus agreed to meet Walter at the gas station. As he arrived, he noticed a tension in the air. Walter was pacing, his face etched with concern. "I've been thinking about what happened that night," he began, glancing around as if ensuring they were alone. "I didn't just record the incident. I saw something else, something that could expose a deeper issue within the department." Marcus's heart raced. "What do you mean?" Walter hesitated, then pulled out a folder filled with documents. "I've been gathering information on complaints against Maddox and Hale. There are patterns, similar incidents, complaints of excessive force, and racial profiling. It's all connected." Marcus felt a surge of determination. "We need to take this to the authorities. This could be the evidence we need to hold them accountable." But Walter shook his head. "It's not that simple. There are powerful people who will do anything to protect their own. We need to be careful." As they spoke, the weight of the situation settled heavily on Marcus's shoulders. He realized that the battle for justice was far from over. The fight against systemic issues within the police department was just beginning, and he would need allies to navigate the treacherous waters ahead. "Let's gather more evidence," Marcus said, his resolve strengthening. "We'll expose the truth, no matter the cost." As they plotted their next steps, the shadows of the past loomed large, but Marcus felt a flicker of hope. Change was possible, but it would require courage, determination, and a willingness to confront the darkness that had taken root within the very institution he had dedicated his life to serve. And with that, the real fight for justice began. Do you want to know the fate of the heroes? Please post part 2. Subscribe to the channel and continue watching. Your opinion and support are important to me. Leave it in the comments. Thank you.